Virginia Ali, we're standing in front of Ben's Chili Bowl. It says established in 1958 here on U Street by the Lincoln Theater.
Yes.
When you and your husband opened this place 64 years ago, did you ever think?
Did I ever think we'd be on the map? No.
Okay.
No, I thought we were simply going to make a living to raise a family and get them off to school and get them off to a good start. That was the goal. And now I'm getting people from all over the world that are bringing me these wonderful tour guide books that they have from their country. And in there I'll see a picture of the monument, of the White House, of the Lincoln Memorial, and then there's a picture of Ben's Chili Bowl.
You are a monument. This place is absolutely a monument.
Map. It's really on the map, but it's been my pleasure to serve this community for 64 years, to have had the pleasure of serving people from all walks of life.
The term legend, icon, queen gets tossed around a lot. Virginia Ali deserves every single one of them. She's the matriarch of Ben's Chili Bowl, which is immensely important to the story of DC. This is Walk a Mile with Tommy McFly, presented by Downtown DC. A quick note, this episode was recorded in late 2022. So Ben's turns 65 this August, 2023. And Virginia turns 90 in December.
Martin Luther King said there will not be an incident. Well, of course, as history will tell you, he brought 250,000 people here that day. No incident. Ben and I were there. It was the most inspirational day to hear all the speeches and then to hear that I Have a Dream speech. And we knew change was going to come.
When he told you that story of, I just talked to the president and I told him, actually, we're going to be fine. Do you remember that day? What was that like?
It was like all the other days at Ben's.
It was just a random Tuesday.
I mean, we were delighted to have him, of course, and so proud of him and his nonviolent approach to everything. So it was wonderful, but he was a very unassuming, very low-keyed, very soft-spoken person. And I had the privilege of sitting with him with a little conversation for a few times, which was wonderful. But then I was also here long enough to witness the inauguration of our first African-American president.
And President Obama came here, first.
His very first outing to eat in Washington was here at Ben's Chili Bowl. Hello, how are you?
Good to see you.
How you doing?
All right.
So that lady just stopped you and she's like, hey, Miss Ben's Chili Bowl. Does that happen all the time to you?
All the time, yeah, it does. Everywhere you go.
When you think about that, how much love there is for your family and how much love there is for what Ben's is and does to the city, do you take it as kind of a celebrity, as like a civic duty?
No, I don't.
An honor? What do you think?
I'm just doing what I enjoy.
Yeah.
I enjoy people so much. I really do. I always have.
What do you think people who are not black who live here, white people, what do they need to know and what do they need to be aware of and respectful of the history of Black Broadway? Like, what would you like to see when neighbors move in? The learning that should go on and the respect for the history that should go on.
Well, I think that's happening pretty much. I mean, one of the ANCs had a little get-together across the street up there in the Wicked area where the very poor people lived behind these buildings over there. And they talked about what they're doing to restore history and how the land went all the way back to the natives.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people are conscious of it, and I think more and more young people of all colors need to know the history.
Right.
And particularly African Americans, they really need to know the history because it wasn't taught in the schools.
So we're walking around and Miss Virginia's telling us history of U Street, history of Ben's, getting ready for their 64th anniversary.
She's part of history as long as I ever live. I'm 60 years old. You got people that come from all over.
Yeah.
Just to get here, just to deal with the franchise of Miss Ben. She the one to bring the business in the city.
Oh my
She
God,
was
I
gonna
think
bring
that's
the
a little
business-
too much credit.
No, that's why a lot of people come in town, and they want to eat. They like to go around, and they go to other places, clothing stores and stuff like that. But she's very special here.
Virginia Ali is truly a monumental American. I bet she's forgotten more things than you and I will ever know.
So how is it to see now, your children and their spouses working in the business and running the business? It's neat that they all sort of have found their expertise and they brought it back to Ben's.
I have to say we have 3 wonderful sons, and I don't have to worry about doing anything except I come because I enjoy it, and they want me to really stay home. And
Yeah.
the other day I had a little thing with my car. Mom, I think you need to buy a car. I'm 88, 9, almost 89. I'm not thinking about buying a car.
I think you look great in a Tesla.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It took a downhill turn after the 68 riots, and it stayed down until 1988. 88 was when they decided to build this subway finally, because we had been promised a subway for many years. So now they decided to build this subway right across the street from the Chili Bowl. They found only 3 businesses in the immediate vicinity had survived: Lee's Flower Shop, Industrial Bank, and Ben's. That wasn't enough to keep 1 lane of traffic out here. They dug up that whole wide street, 65 feet down.
They closed U Street and dug up U Street right in front of the bowl.
Right.
So what happened
You know
to-
how many employees I had? And me.
What do you do for
But-
fun? I feel like you're constantly at work, but you never work at all, but you're always working.
Well, we had such wonderful friends, and that's what I miss most now. I miss my husband, but there were like 4 couples that were really close, and then 6 couples that we did things with as well. But we were inseparable. We went out together, we went to dinner, we took turns hosting,
Having that group of friends is like
and it was
the most important.
It was so therapeutic.
What do you think now when you're like seeing a Ben's Chili Bowl at the airport at Reagan and you're shipping your chili across the country?
Oh my goodness, it's unreal for me. It really is kind of unreal to see all those things going on, and people sending me beautiful letters from everywhere. It's just amazing. And you know what was most touching? When this pandemic hit, a reporter said, how are you making out? I said, we're struggling. And I started getting these letters and these checks. They were coming locally, they were coming across the country, and a little simple thing like one would say, I love Ben's Chili Bowl and I can't afford much, but please accept my $25 money order.
What was that like when people were sending you money?
And then there would be 101 and there would be 500. We were able to take that money and pool it together and serve boxed lunches first to Howard University Hospital.
That is the most Ali family thing ever.
And
People
then
were
they-
trying to help you out and you're like, no, I'm gonna move that on and I'm gonna help out someone else.
Yeah, well, because they gave us these checks, we can afford to make some lunches and send them up.
And we're walking through Ben Ali Alley. You've got Dick Gregory and you've got Dave Chappelle and Marion Barry and Jim Vance and
Yeah.
Eleanor Holmes Norton. Who decides who goes on the wall?
The community decides who goes on the wall. We asked people to go online and vote for whom you'd like to see on our wall. We gave some suggestions, and it was so fascinating because even the older people that don't do computers
Yeah.
would come in the Chili Bowl with a little piece of paper and say, I wrote down a few names.
You got Taraji P. Henson and you got
Yeah, she's a
Donnie
DC
Simpson
girl.
and Prince, the Obamas.
Yeah.
Who's next on the wall? Who's going up next?
Oh, I don't know. I have a little girl that's been with me for a long time, 45 years. Probably put her up there.
I love that.
Yeah.
And after we finished our mile walk, she continued on into Ben's Chili Bowl, where she shows up most days to greet customers, help out behind the counter, and accept the love that DC and tourists from around the country give her.